Previously, we read the user's input as a string, since that was the return type of console readline. And then we wanted to use that value as an integer. To do that, we had to use the int parse method. But why is that? Well, C# is a strongly typed programming language, meaning that every variable that we declare has its own type. And if we try to assign a string value to an int variable, we'll get the following error. Cannot convert the source type string to int. Int.parse method is an utility method that allows us to convert from string to int. For other numeric types, we have methods converting to string similar to the int.parse method. For example, to convert from string to float, we would invoke float.parse user input and then assign the result to some float value variable. For short, it would be short.parse user input, and so on for the rest of the numeric types. Let's try to calculate the user's age basing on his year of birth and display his age in the console. So int age is equal to datetime now year minus year of birth. That should be good enough for this example. Now we can just invoke console writeline UR and then the age. If we start the program and enter the value 1990, we will get the message you are 30. So far so good. However, if the user's input wasn't a correct numeric value and we try to parse that input, we would get a runtime error. To see that happen, I will run the program and type ABC as the user's input. The program crashed and we got the exception in the console window. Unhandled exception, system format exception, input string was not in a correct format. To protect ourselves from incorrect end user data, we can make use of the int.tryParse method. This method is a bit different from the standard parse method, because instead of returning a parsed value, it will return a boolean indicating whether the conversion succeeded. So if the user's input is not valid number, the conversion will fail and it will just return a false value, instead of throwing an error. To get the parsed value for the year of birth variable, we'll have to pass it as a second parameter with the out keyword. With the out keyword, the tryParse method will be able to set the value of our variable. Now we can just put the tryParse method in an if statement to check if the conversion succeeded. And if it did, we have our age calculation and then the message. On the other hand, so if the conversion fails, you can create an else statement where we can handle invalid user input. So let's just console writeline incorrect value. If we run the project again and enter ABC as the value, this time we don't get the exception, instead we get our message incorrect value. In this way, we are able to safely convert from string to a numeric type. Converting numeric types to other numeric types is a bit simpler. For integers, we have implicit and explicit casting depending on the conversion. If we had a byte type value equal to 100 and we wanted to assign it to an int variable, then there would be no problem because, as we already know, int is even more than capable of holding the values from a byte type. So this was the implicit conversion. Implicit conversion, the other way around, meaning from byte to an int, is not possible because it will give us the following compilation error. Cannot implicitly convert type int to byte. An explicit conversion exists. Are you missing a cast? To cast that int value to a byte, we'll have to do it in the following way. So before the int value, we specify the type in parentheses, so it's just byte. But keep in mind that if the int value is outside of the byte range, we'll get an overflow. to convert from floating point numbers to integers, we'll also have to use explicit cast, for example when converting from double to int. So let's say some double value is equal to 3.5, and then we need some int value which is equal to double value, and we have to cast it as an int. But doing so, we will lose the number precision. So the int value will be equal to 3. When it comes to converting to string type, it is quite simple, since every object in C# has a ToString method declared. We can just invoke that method on any variable, and we'll get the string representation of its value. So some string value 2 is equal to int value 2, ToString.